What's going on, people? Welcome back to another John Sinclair TV. Back again, and it's recorded show. And I got Emilio. Good afternoon, Emilio.
Hello, John. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Fantastic stuff. A big Fulham fan, and he's coming on to talk about Tosin Adarabioyo. And before we talk about him, make sure you give the channel a like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to super chat, it is open. And if you'd like to become a member, it's just 99p. Remember, guys, this is a pre-recorded show. Right, I want to talk to Emilio about this guy, Tosin Adarabioyo, right, and what he brings to the table, right? We've been linked with him on a free buy because he's out of contract at the end of the season. And if you'd like to tell the Newcastle fans what to expect from him, number one. Secondly, is this guy good? Is he the defender that we need at the back? Because he's quite pacey at the back.
Yeah, look, people who know me well, I've supported Fulham about 43 years now. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm always fair and very grounded whenever I do shows, and when I talk about the club positively or negatively, I'm not going to mess people around. So
that's what you're for.
When we signed him for a very cheap fee from Man City a few years ago. He didn't quite make the mark then. Clearly, it's difficult to make to get into that first team at Man City. We got him, I thought, at a snip, £1.5 million, and he's been a pretty solid defender in that time. He's mid-20s, 25, 26 at the moment. How do you say? To be honest with you, he's going to be one of these rebels. He's not, unfortunately, the way he's dealt this sort of. The fact he doesn't want a contract extension. We've put a good offer on the table. He's clearly refused it. He wants out of the club and he wants to play for a so-called bigger club. And I think there was potential there. He's at the right age. I think would Fulham miss him? I'm glad he's going, to be honest with you. I'm going to be very honest with you. I think he's done okay at the club. He hasn't set the world alight in his time at Fulham. He's picked up a few goals. He's just, he's always prone to making mistakes. I'll be honest. So again, there have been moments this season. We had a groin injury at the beginning of the season. He was out for a good couple of months. He then found his way back into the team. Some moments he was outstanding. We had 2 back-to-back 5-0 wins in December, followed by 3 consecutive appalling defeats. One at St James's Park, where we lost 3-0. And then we lost to, Burnley and Bournemouth thereafter, when he was in the defence. So we're very inconsistent, but so is Tosin. There'll be things he does remarkably well. Sometimes when he holds the ball, he likes to carry the ball forward. Sometimes his final ball, his distribution could be a little bit poor and he gives the ball away cheaply. There'll be other moments when he's a liability in defence. So I'm going to be very honest with you. Will I miss him? He's not necessarily. He clearly doesn't want to stay at the club. So I don't want players who don't want to play with that Fulham shirt at the club. So he's welcome to go. If Newcastle want to take him on a free, I think it's worth a gamble. You're not paying a transfer fee. I would grab him. He's a good squad player. He'll be a good squad player for you. Will he be an upgrade to what you've got? I'm not sure he will be. I'll be honest with you. I think he's got this vision that he's maybe bigger than he actually is and a much better player than he actually is. The only thing is I never found him being a part of the Fulham furniture. I found him to be always on the periphery. Even when he comes out the pitch, he's always at the back of the starting 11, head down, doesn't show much emotion after the game, win or lose. I always felt he wasn't passionate enough about Fulham and never showed enough emotion to be there. So if we have to part ways, so be it. Is he good enough for a top 6 team like yourselves? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. I haven't seen enough consistency there for him to break into your first starting 11 and add more depth and quality in your defence. Because you've conceded a lot of goals this season, a bit like, I think your defensive record is worse than ours. But the difference is you score more goals, you win more games, therefore you got more points. But he'll be an asset to your squad, but I'm not sure he'd be a regular starting 11 from what I've seen over the last 3 seasons or 4 with Fulham.
Yeah. Thing is, right, you're Newcastle fans, so bigger this guy. Go and get him in. It's a free buy. I tell you now, a lot of our fan base don't know a lot about this guy. I don't particularly know a lot about this guy. I'm not going to lie to you. I really check out on stats, yeah. And he's played 116 games, scored 5 goals in his time for Fulham. And if you look at his defending, like you said, his defending's not the best. He's a good tackler. I get that. Yeah. But I'll tell you now, he's a good tackler and he reads the game well. His aerial duels is pretty good, an average of 69%. Yeah. Like you said as well. But the thing is, his weakness as well, I have to agree with you. He does get the ball away a lot. He's got pace on him. And not only that, but if you look at it, right, I mean, at the end of the day, right, I mean, he's got a long way to go in my book. He's got a long, long way to go. Now, can Eddie Howe turn him into a fantastic player? Can he improve him?
Yeah, and I think if you've got better players around you, Newcastle obviously got a stronger squad than Fulham, clearly. You've got more quality. He can maybe evolve, but he's 26 now. He's at that age when he's either got it or he hasn't. Maybe he's got another year or two to develop and mature and then establish at that level. But has he got further upside? Definitely. But there'll be moments when I thought, this could have been he could have been captain material. Somebody who's a leader at the back. Like you said, his aerial duels. He wins a good number of balls in the air. He's tall. He's confident. Clearly, both not wanting to stay in Fulham and making a clear mark that he wants to lead the club. There's an element of arrogance and confidence there. But the time somebody comes forward with a ball, do the simple things. Pass it to someone's feet. And unfortunately, the amount of times he's given a ball away this season, in that sort of period when he came back into the team, has been quite frustrating. But then he does a spectacular when he's actually winning tackles, winning balls fair and square. But there are times when he feels a little bit sluggish and lethargic and gets turned inside out a little bit too easy. So again, with better quality players around him, the fullbacks and your midfield players might protect him a lot more than maybe our Fulham players. So you might have that sort of stronger squad to get him out of jail when maybe he's made a few mistakes. But sometimes I look at his scoring record. Maybe for someone with that aerial threat and the amount of goals he scored from set pieces, maybe not done enough. I would have expected him to be more, maybe scored a few more goals from defence when it counts, because that goal scoring record not the best. But look, I see him as a squad player. I'd be surprised if he's going to be a regular starting player. You're not paying for him. You're not paying for transfer fee. All clubs need depth. You always need backups in every position. Sometimes in the central defence, you probably need 2 or 3 backups. Just that's where his position counts. He's on the right side of defence as well. So, squad player, I think he'll be a good acquisition for you. Is he good enough to start it week in, week out? He has to earn that right. And I think that's the difference. I think he'll probably think he's entitled to start week in, week out. Just the arrogance of him and the fact that we made a very strong offer for him and we gave him the chance to play week in, week out. This was in the February, March time. And clearly he was stalling. He didn't want to sign the contract. He was stalling. But the club, the coach were trying to persuade him to sign the extension. As soon as he made it clear, I'm not going to sign, he's been dropped. He's not even in the squad the last 3 or 4 games. So you know what? You don't want to be part of Fulham Football Club. Go in the stands, watch from there. And we don't want you anywhere in the club. Will I remember him in 6 months' time? Probably not, no. So I'm glad he's going now, because I don't want players, like I've said, who don't feel part of the Fulham furniture and don't want to progress with this club. I think if he had the right attitude, he could have pushed on another couple of years, take the club top 8, top 9, not unrealistic. And, but he thinks he can go to Newcastle, Man United, who's only, 2-3 positions ahead of us, 3-4 positions? It's good luck to him, is all I can say. And good luck to Newcastle. I think he's a good squad player, but he needs to be developed and mature to be starting week in, week out, in my opinion.
Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. I'll just check on this distribution as well. You covered most of it as well. His passing is decent, and sometimes struggles with position required to launch counter-attacks from deep, and improves his long ball accuracy, finding more incisive passes, could further enhance his overall game. Yes, he's got pace. Yes, he's a good leader of the ball. Yeah, but at the end of the day, what's he like one-on-one situations with someone facing him one-on-one? Does he come out on top when it comes to one-on-one v1?
Mixed. I see it quite mixed. Sometimes he gets turned inside out a little bit too easy in defence. And the point you made earlier is important, that when he comes forward with the ball, there's that confidence, that sort of sway to him, because he's quite tall, he's lanky, he's well built. Sometimes he would just give the ball away cheaper, but with his pace, he can go back and do the spectacular tackle and and then save the club, from potentially conceding a goal. But there'll be times when he gets caught out a little bit too easily, and when we haven't necessarily got the quality in that defence to sort of protect that mistake, sometimes we get penalised for it. So there've been moments when he's got ourselves out of jail. He's mopped up particularly well. His tackling, his timing is not too bad. His timing is pretty good. But at times, I think sometimes he could commit a little bit more. I think sometimes he stands off the defender a little bit too easy. Maybe gives the opposing defender a little bit more time. And there'll be times when I just think, go in there a little bit harder, commit. If you think you're that good, commit the tackle and get it done right first time. Whereas sometimes I think he just stands off a little bit too easy and gets the opposition the chance to get the ball into the 6-yard box when anything can happen there. So sometimes I just think he could do more. He could be a little bit stronger, but he's got, as I say, I still think he's got a bit of more potential around him, but he's getting that age now, 26. He's either got it or he hasn't really. And I'm not sure how far he can go in his career, but I wish him well. I don't wish him bad, to be honest with you, but it's just disappointing then, we haven't been able to secure him longer term, and it's time for him to go. His contract finished the 30th of June, so any deal that you make will probably be effective 1st of July. But Man United are obviously sniffing after him as well.
They are indeed, and he's a Manchester born. But the thing is, though, that I don't think they want him. But at the end of the day, that I believe is going to come to Newcastle United. So I just shared the stream on his record as well, so viewers to know what it's all about. And if you look at the stats there, and 6.7 out of 10 for the season, and that's about average, to be fair. I'm not going to lie to you, but he's played 25 times this season, 2 goals, 27 conceded, and he's been booked twice, so he's quite a clean player. And when you look down on this, when he plays, there's 1.28 goals conceded, 30% of the clean sheets. That needs to be worked on big time, because we can see goals on left, right, centre at this moment in time. And if you look in the Premier League, go by Premier League records, match started, 18 started. Wow, that is not a lot. But when you go down to it, it's defense goals conceded. When he's played 23 goals played, that's 70%. Middlesbrough goals conceded, and that's 70% there. 6 clean sheets, 21 tackles makes it 31%. 24 interceptions, that's quite high. Ground duels 1 needs to be worked on. Aerial duels 1, he's good in the air, 93%. Dual pass 68, 90% of the clearance, shot blocked 78, and he's given away 0. And if you look at him, right, I mean, you're not worried about goals expected. He's not going to score a lot of goals than that. But look at those stats, though, Emilio. I mean, it can be a little bit mixed. But if you look at it, right, I mean, aerials 1, fantastic in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact that the one stat that stands out is what I mentioned earlier, about he doesn't commit enough. So hence, he's only got 2 yellow cards. So at times, should he be stronger? Should he be more assertive? In defence in particular. The fact that some of his defensive stats look good is obviously when you're on the back foot in a club like ours, you're always going to probably defend a lot more than you would attack. So naturally, someone of his build, his stature, you're going to win a high proportion of your sort of defensive type activities, your tackling, your challenges, your headers, your aerial duels. He's going to sort of score fairly highly there. But sometimes I just think it could be a little. It can switch off occasionally. And again, look, we're a mid-table club. We've established ourselves in the Premier League the last couple of years. We're going to lose more games than we win. But one important stat is, I think Bernd Leno's got the 2nd most clean sheets in the division as a goalkeeper. So that's, for a club of our position, mid-table, the fact that we've conceded less goals than I think yourselves, Man United, that says something defensively. Albeit he's only played in half the games because he had an injury for a good couple of months of the season, and then it's sort of a couple of games he's been dropped. The last few games he's not been involved in squad because he clearly doesn't want to stay at the club. So it's a steady Eddie. I wouldn't say he's spectacular. He can do the simple things quite well, but you want him to be more stronger at times. I think lead from the back. I think, like I said, he had that potential of being a captain. You have your leaders at the back, defend, and captain from defence. I think sometimes he's got to have the right attitude, the right headspace, and sometimes he could be quite needy. Sometimes I feel like that. So, but if not paying a fee for him, it's worth a gamble. You need every squad, like I said, every club needs depth in the squad, and with your coaching staff there, maybe you can get him to a level that we've not quite seen consistently at Fulham over the seasons. He's sort of been. Even last season, he wasn't playing consistently last season either. So I don't think many Fulham fans will, in 10 years' time, will say, "Wow, Tosin, great player." Etc. He was a good defender. At times, should have done better. But am I disappointed? The point is, he goes. We have to replace him. So we've got to find 20, 25. If you want a decent defender, you've got to pay good 15, 20 million. to get a replacement for him. That's going to be the downside. But if someone doesn't want to be there, then we have to resign ourselves to just find somebody else and let him move on.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Newcastle fans will probably be mixed about what you've been seeing. And this is why our fans and our fan base needs to take a chill pill, because at the end of the day, right? I mean, they're so eggy, so excited. We get this player, get him in. They haven't hardly seen him, but I said it earlier on. But we have to judge him when he plays for Newcastle United if he does come. But Eddie Howe plays a possession-based style of play. I think this guy could fit in if given time, and it seems to me he's going to need time. I think it's going to take a good few months to get in. Yes, he's got Premier League experience. He's Mancunian. We get that. But at the end of the day, right, when we look at players that we've got, like Joe Linton, right? I mean, he was awful. When Eddie Howe came in, he turned into a top quality player. Maybe Eddie Howe could turn this guy into a top quality defender in time.
Yeah, exactly. I look at Dan Burn. He's probably another example. A former Fulham player. He was in the second tier when we got relegated. What was it, 9-10 years ago? He didn't. He got released, or he moved on. And look, he's now Champions League player for yourselves. He's been pretty much a regular for the last few seasons for you. So again, he defied critics. I'm first to put my hand on thing, Dan, but I didn't think had the potential to play at the Premier League. But good coaching staff, better players around him. He's a bit more versatile now than he was back in the days at Fulham. So fair play. What is 32, 33. I think he's probably now come to a point, maybe he's not strong enough to be a regular starting 11 for you, but he's done a job. And fair play to Eddie Howe and the coaching staff over the years to get him to a position where he's playing pretty much regular football. And Tosin could become that player. As long as, like I said, Eddie Howe likes to play like Marco Silva, likes to play with expansive brand of football, possession, play from the back. And Tosin, at times was comfortable in that system. But there were moments when he's carrying a ball in the halfway line and then just gives the ball away cheap. And said, goodness me, guy, do you need my glasses? Can't you see? It's like, come on, do the simple things well. Defenders, I always say, do the good things often and do the simple things often as well. And sometimes his distribution is good. That's another thing I want to call out. He's got a knack at times to spread the ball across the pitch and pick a wide man out. So he's got that knack of doing that well at times. But it's the simple things. As a defender, you're going to be measured on goals conceded, the mistakes you make in the back. Not so much about the goals you score. It's about your defensive capabilities. And at times, I'm like, oh my God, he's got away with murder there. Or what the hell are you doing there, Tosin? Just clear your lines. You're trying to pass your way out of trouble sometimes and get caught out. So there's work to be done there, but it's I wouldn't say it's a gamble because you're not paying a fee. And I think so. It's low risk. I think it's a good move for him, but he's going to need time, and Newcastle fans need to warm to him, I think, before you start to see him regularly.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, my conclusion is that this guy, I say, he's worth a punt. I think he needs to be given a chance. And do you know what? I think, we got to give this guy time if he does come. But if you give us marks out of 10 for Tosin, how many marks out of 10? You watch your Fulham watcher, you watch this guy. If you're telling Newcastle fans, the marks out of 10 overall for his time at Fulham.
Overall, I'd probably measure him 6.5 out of 10. Hasn't set the world alight. At times being underwhelming. Could have done more. Like I said, I think he could have had a few more goals in attack with this aerial threat from set pieces. He's going to be remembered more for the errors he's often makes rather than the defensive cover and the good defensive duties he's done for the club. So like I said, he's not going to be highly thought of in 10 years' time. He's one of those players you're not going to think, wow, shame we missed him. But I wish him well. I don't wish many of our players who leave the club unwell, to be honest with you. I'm sort of an honest person. If you're going out on bitter terms, that's different. Then I will say my words, a few words. But he's kept things quiet, dealt with it in the background. He still kept his head down, give him his dues. I'll give him his dues whilst we were trying to negotiate the extension. He still kept his head down. Wasn't necessarily communicating with the players as much. That's the thing about it. I always felt he wasn't part of the Fulham furniture. It was always very personal, very quiet, and just, I've got 90 minutes on the pitch and let me do my job. Those 2 months when we were negotiating that extension, more so, he went in very much in that shell because clearly he didn't want to be there. the club were trying to convince him to stay. He didn't want to be there. It came to loggerheads, I'm guessing. It came to stalemate. Thank you very much. You're now out of the squad and you're not figuring again for Fulham Football Club, isn't it? So I would say 6.5 out of 10. I'll probably give them.
Cool stuff. That's fair enough. It's a fair assessment there from Emilio. Fulham watch out as well. And just to wrap up the show, just quick on Newcastle, Eddie Howe. Is Eddie Howe, I mean, I'm Eddie in, by the way.
I was going to ask you, okay.
Is Eddie Howe, that's right, is Eddie Howe going to take Newcastle to the glory days?
I've asked, Pete as well, and Pete Davey as well. So I asked him often the same question. I said,
legend.
He's always
big up Pete in the room. Big up Pete.
Yeah, big up. Pete's a top bloke. Love Pete, and obviously love yourself, John, as well. You're a great guy. And I kept asking the question. I think when I was on his show before the Newcastle Fulham game at St James's Park in December. Newcastle performances are a bit mixed, and I asked him, "What's your verdict on Eddie Howe this season? Last season was absolutely couldn't do nothing wrong. This season it hasn't gone maybe plain, sweet as Newcastle fans would have liked." And I kept saying, what would be a good season for Newcastle? You're unlikely to get into the Champions League. Are you still Eddie in? He's slightly shifted a little bit less bullish. So he said we've got to give him the chance for the new season. I think he's got potential to take the club further. I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch enough of the Newcastle games to suggest. I know your fans are very passionate, like the Fulham fans. You clearly want success. We all do. I sometimes feel underwhelmed watching Eddie Howe as a neutral, especially this season. I know you've had a hell of a lot of injuries early in the season, and so did Fulham, admittedly. But I found when the chips were down, did he do enough to take you further, trying to get you out of that, that poor run of winless games, defeats, and so forth? I just felt, as an independent, neutral fan watching Newcastle, I think it can be a little bit underwhelming. I'm probably going to get attacked by Newcastle fan, but don't take this the wrong way. I'm just being very honest, just looking from the outside. He's a nice bloke, good coach, good manager, probably too nice at times. I think football, you've got to be hard. I think he needs to be a bit more thick-skinned, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But overall, you've got a wealthy owner, but with all these FFP rules, you're restricted on what you can buy and what you can do. So, he could take you to the Champions League next season, but it's getting tougher now. Next season's going to be tough. You've got Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea are getting better.
Yeah, Chelsea are
getting better.
Tottenham
potentially will learn from their mistakes this season. They haven't got enough depth. And they've had a few injuries that they can potentially get better. Top 6 next season is going to be tough. Man United, I don't think can get any worse. So there's your traditional top 8 teams all vying for 4 places next year. Villa have come from nowhere this season. They've got a good manager there. And I look at Emery and Eddie Howe, same type of character, good managers, good coaches. Why isn't Eddie Howe getting them more out of his players this season? Look at Emery. He's done an outstanding job at Villa. So I'm still on the fence with Eddie Howe. I think you've got to give him the summer, give him a transfer window. You've got to see if you're not actively in that top 4 first half of next season. I don't know what Newcastle fans expect. What are your ambitions of Eddie Howe? What do you think, John? Is he doing enough for you? Do you think underwhelming this season? I don't know.
I love Eddie Howe to bits, and everyone knows that I'm Eddie in all day long. But the thing is, right, he's got to stop playing the sphere bets. He's got to get rid of the dead ballers, the new players coming out of the club, because to move forward, we're in phase 3. It will be in phase 3 in the summer. Yeah, I want to see some of those players gone. It's going to be hard to get them all out, but at the end of the day, that's the problem. There's people on canny whack a week, and I'm talking players like Miguel Almiron, Jacob Murphy, Sean Longstaff. Yeah, they need to be gone if you are to progress. Now, I heard today that Miggy doesn't want to move. That is the thing, and he's got 2 years left on his contract. Yeah, and he's not interested in going to the Saudi, so he better have a choice. We need to get better players coming in because you need to keep turning over. Because if he have players like Miggy, Sean, and also Jacob Murphy, right, for that matter, we cannot progress because they can't go any further. They cannot go any further. They've been at the club for a long time now, and they haven't really progressed. If you look at Miggy, right, 5 goals this season, 12 last season. He's gone backwards, I'm not going to lie. That's the same. Sean Longstaff, don't get me wrong, he's a humble guy. I like Sean. But at the end of it, I call him 36, but he's a humble guy. But he's not going to win me a title. He's not going to win us a trophy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes, right? I'm sure he's getting a bit upsetting because he wants better players around him, like Joe Linton, Elliot Anderson. Yeah, we could do with Lewis Miley coming in as well. I'm not going to lie, but the bottom line is we need to upgrade. We need to upgrade in the summer. We need about 4 or 5 players coming in to take us where we want to be. Yeah, and get new players coming in. Otherwise, it's just going to become stale, and we're not going to progress. Eddie needs to be ruthless. He needs to be ruthless now, because if he's not going to be ruthless, then our owner's going to make him be ruthless. He has to stop playing favourites. That's the only criticism I've got Eddie out. He plays his favourites, and he needs to stop that now and make sure that we get quality coming in, right? It's going to take us to the top 4. Yeah?
I agree.
Newcastle fans you're not allowed to be negative. You're not allowed to criticise the player. Yeah? We're not criticising. It's constructive criticism. And I'm just saying how it is. People like Lee Goddard says it how it is. Kenny Ken says it how it is. Jez, Arsenal History More says it how it is. Mattis Avaguna says it how it is. Yeah? But the fact is, though, right? I'm 54. I want to win things. You know what I mean? And I can't wait forever and ever and ever.
No, I agree. I know what you mean.
So I want to win titles. I want to win cups. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it'd be amazing if we could do that. So, but can you see where I'm coming from in a way?
Yeah. And I think, if I look at it from the outside, defensively, you've suffered this year. You've conceded too many goals. If you want to win titles,
11
you can't
defeats.
be conceding the level of goals. Is Tosin going to reduce your goals conceded? Probably not, and that's probably where my point is. You need to strengthen him in defence if you want to convert those defeats into draws and draws into wins to get more points on the board. You're conceding too many goals. The fact that I think you've conceded more goals than we have. That's not a good stat. So is Tosin going to improve that? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. That shows where there's some weaknesses in your squad where you need to strengthen and can push for that top 4 place next season. It's going to be hard because Arsenal, Man City already will have a stronger squad next year than they have this year. And them two have been the outstanding threat this year. Liverpool have tailed off a little bit, but we don't know where you're going to get the new managers. Next season is going to be interesting because, like you said, there's all those teams that struggled in recent times, the Chelsea's, Man United, Tottenham's, they will get better. So you've got 8 fighting for what, 4 places next season? It's going to be tough. But you've got the money, and it's important. This transfer window is going to, for Newcastle United, it's going to, and for Fulham for that matter, it's going to be a key transfer window. You get the right signings. You probably a bit of churn. You probably need to sell to buy just because of these rules, these FFP rules, how they operate. I'm no expert on those, but clearly you need to be balancing the books there. But defensively, you need to sort that out, and that's what I mean. I'm not sure Tosin is going to help you there. If anyone, if Joachim Andersen at Crystal Palace, we had him on loan a few years ago for a year. Then we got relegated. He left the club. I know he's a much stronger defender, proven international defender for Denmark. He's distributes the ball well, more of an attacking threat. If I head to head, Joachim Andersen 10 out of 10 versus Tosin, as far as I'm concerned. So again, that's the type of defender. If you had a choice to attract, go and get Joachim Andersen from Crystal Palace rather than Tosin on a free.
Fact, absolute fact. And Jug Anderson, I followed this guy's career when he was at Sampdoria. That
Good
guy
man.
was brilliant. What a defender that guy is. What a leader, an absolute leader. And that's who we should be getting.
That's who should be getting.
4 men. And then part of Lascelles is part of the deal who needs to be. But, if he's available, get this guy in. Get this guy in. And before we wrap up the show, and we talked about, players need to get rid of as well. I mean, what would you like to tell Newcastle United fans watching this show?
Enjoy the summer off. I think we all deserve the 3 months off in the summer. Before you know it's going to be pre-season in a couple of months' time. So enjoy the couple of months off. Let's come back all fighting strong for next season. But I always enjoy watching Newcastle play football. Good brand of football. Great fans. Great support. We need to beat you maybe next season. We need to break this duck where you keep beating us every season. But look, I think you've got high expectations. You need a big transfer window. This is going to be Eddie Howe. This is going to be his biggest test. Not the Champions League this season. that was a learning curve for him. He'll get better from that experience. But for Newcastle to be challenging for top four, you've got a crucial transfer window coming up in the summer, and I wish you all the best. All the best for next season. And if you get Tosin, look after him. Even though, like I said, I'm not his biggest fan, but you don't want harm imposed on some of your former players. You hope they make progress and develop as individuals, but I think you can do better. That's probably where I'm coming from. You can do better, and if you want to achieve top four status, Tosin's not your answer.
Fair enough. That's a bit damning anyway. What Newcastle fans, what do you think of that one? Emilio's been absolutely damning on this guy. He does seem confident about this guy. He thinks it's okay, but it's nothing special. So, so we're going to wrap up the show there. And thanks so much for coming on, Emilio. I really happy
thank you very much
coming in. Before we let you go, can you tell the viewers where to find you on your socials, please?
Yeah, find me on Teddy Nella. That's my private one. And there's also Cottage Talk as well, where there's all things about Fulham content. So anyone want to follow me, just message me direct. I'll be interested to see once you publish this, John, what the Newcastle fans think. Like I said, I'm very honest, pragmatic, grounded in my opinion. So but once I was damning about Tosin. I think he's steady, he's good, but not top four material. Which is you said you want to get to the Champions League.
Yeah,
I don't see him as being a top four challenging defender. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, you got to be honest in yourself, and fans needs to be as well. And that's why I got you on, because you're one of the honestest guys I've seen on my channel, and that's what you love to see. So anyway, the link's in the description as well, at Teddy Nello as well. And tell us what you think, guys. Do you think Emilio's right? Are you worried about getting this guy in? Do you want him now? Do you think Eddie will turn him around? And will he be a top quality player? Is he even better than Sven Botman, Dan Burn, Jamal Lascelles, Fabian Schär? So leave it in the comment section down below, people. And if you like what you watch, make sure you watch my channels again soon. And until then, guys, have a fantastic afternoon. And